The day Aunty Amaka shouted at that hungry boy, my heart nearly tore into two. I was inside my room when I heard her voice, sharp like broken plate. She was not the type that raised her voice. When I rushed out, I saw small Sadiq running with tears on his face, his hand holding his empty stomach. Aunty Amaka was standing by her pot of jollof, breathing hard like someone who had just fought a battle inside her chest. People were already opening their doors. Some were whispering, some were shaking their heads. That was when I knew this matter was bigger than food. I am Mama Kemi. I am the oldest woman in that compound, and I have seen many kinds of pain. Pain that shouts, pain that keeps quiet, pain that hides inside laughter. But the pain in Aunty Amaka's eyes that afternoon was the type that has stayed too long. Let me go back a bit. Every Saturday for many years, Aunty Amaka cooked jollof rice. Not small pot, big pot, enough to feed a whole family. By morning, the smell would enter every room. Even if you had no money, that smell alone would make you feel like the day had hope. But after cooking, she would not eat. She would sit down near the pot and watch it like the pot was a living thing. At first, people thought she was sick. Later, they thought maybe she was doing some kind of prayer. Some said she lost her senses after her husband died, but nobody talked to her. In this life, people like to guess more than they like to ask. I noticed small things. How she always cooked alone. How she never laughed on Saturdays. How her eyes followed the pot until night. When rain fell, she would cover it carefully. When sun was hot, she would move it into shade. Then by evening, she would pack the rice and throw it away every single Saturday. I wanted to ask her many times, but I held my mouth. Some wounds are like hot soup. If you touch it too early, you burn both yourself and the person carrying it. But when she shouted at Sadiq, I knew it was time. That boy was hungry. His mother had not cooked for 2 days. I knew. Hunger has a smell, and I can smell it from far. When he went to beg for small food, and she chased him like that, something cracked open. That night, I did not sleep well. I kept seeing Aunty Amaka's face, not the angry one, the scared one, the one that looked like she saw a ghost when that boy spoke. By evening, I tied my wrapper well and walked to her door. My legs were heavy, but my spirit pushed me forward. I knocked and entered. Her room was clean but quiet, too quiet, like a place where words had died. She was sitting on the floor. Her eyes were red. I sat down too. I told her I was not there to fight. I was not there to judge. I just wanted to understand why a woman would cook life every Saturday and refuse to eat it. She looked at me for a long time. Then she began to cry. That was the moment I knew this story had been waiting for a listener. Aunty Amaka cried like a child that had been holding her breath for too long. Her shoulders were shaking. Her hands were tight on her wrapper. I did not rush her. Some tears need space. I only moved closer and sat on the floor with her. The room smelled faintly of onions and smoke, like her kitchen never really left her body. When she finally spoke, her voice was low and broken. She said she did not mean to shout at the boy. She said the hunger in his eyes frightened her. It pulled something out of her that she had buried deep. I told her to talk slowly, that there was no hurry, that I was there to listen, not to carry her story outside. She wiped her face and nodded. She told me about her son, Kunle, her only child. She said before he was born, doctors told her she might never carry a child. When she finally did, she treated that boy like gold. She said he was quiet, polite, and always hungry. Not hunger for food only, but hunger for stories, for laughter, for home. Every Saturday, Kunle used to come back from boarding school. He would drop his bag and run straight to the kitchen to check the pot. If it was jollof, his whole face would shine. He would dance around the kitchen, begging her to hurry. He liked to sit beside the pot and watch it cook, just like she does now. One Saturday, she said, she cooked his favorite jollof.
The smell was strong. She remembered smiling as she stirred it. She kept looking at the gate, waiting for him, waiting. But Kunle did not come. Hours passed. Evening came. Night fell. Then the knock came, not from her son, but from strangers. A call from the hospital. A road accident. No long talk, just simple words that cut deep. She said her ears heard the words, but her heart refused to believe. She left the pot on the fire until the rice burnt. She did not care. From that day, Saturdays stopped being days. They became wounds. She told me after the burial, people came with advice. Be strong. Time will heal. God knows best. She nodded and thanked them, but inside her, nothing healed. Kunle had eaten her jollof every Saturday. Without him, eating it felt like betrayal. So she started cooking it for him every Saturday. She said as long as she cooked, it meant he was still expected. As long as she watched the pot, it meant he could still walk in. Eating it or giving it out felt like closing the door forever. When Sadiq stood there, begging, with his thin legs and quiet voice, she said she saw Kunle. Not his face, but his hunger. And fear grabbed her. Fear that if she fed that boy, she would accept that her own son would never come back. As she spoke, I felt tears in my own eyes. I understood her pain, but I also saw the cage she built for herself. I told her gently that pain can turn love into prison if we allow it. I told her that children do not replace children, but feeding the living does not kill the dead. She looked at me with tired eyes. That night, I left her room knowing the real battle had just started.
After that night, Aunty Amaka became quieter than before, if that was even possible. The next Saturday came, and the whole compound watched her like people watching a pot that might boil over. As usual, she woke up early. As usual, the smell of jollof filled the air. But this time, something felt different. The smell carried weight, like a question nobody wanted to ask. I stayed in my room, but kept my door open. I could hear her moving around, the sound of spoon inside pot, the soft cough she always made when smoke entered her throat. When the rice was almost done, I went outside and sat on my bench, pretending to be fixing my slippers. I wanted to be close without pushing myself into her space. She sat by the pot just watching. Her eyes were deep and far. People passed and greeted her. She answered with her head, not with her mouth. Then I saw Sadiq. The boy walked slowly into the compound, like someone walking on broken glass. He did not come near the pot. He did not even look at it. He sat near the tap and washed his hands, though there was nothing to wash. Hunger does that. It makes you behave like you are full when you are not. I saw Aunty Amaka notice him. Her back became stiff. Her hand held the pot cover tight. For a long time, nothing happened. The rice was done. The fire was off. Silence sat between them. My heart was beating fast. I prayed inside my chest. Aunty Amaka stood up. She carried a plate. Then she stopped. Her hand shook. She dropped the plate back on the table. She sat down again. Sadiq did not move. He just sat there, looking at the ground. Minutes passed. The sun shifted. Then Aunty Amaka stood up again. This time, she picked the plate and walked slowly to the pot. She opened it. The steam rose like it always did. She closed her eyes for a short moment like someone gathering strength. She served the rice. The sound of spoon against plate was loud in my ears. People around stopped what they were doing. Nobody spoke. She walked towards Sadiq and placed the plate in front of him. The boy looked up confused. He did not touch the food. Maybe he was scared. Maybe he thought she would shout again. Aunty Amaka told him to eat.
He ate slowly at first, then faster. Tears rolled down his face and dropped into the rice. He did not wipe them. Hunger does not wait for pride. As he ate, Aunty Amaka went back to the pot. She stood there for a long time. Then she did something I had not seen in years. She served another plate. She sat down. She ate. Her mouth shook as she chewed. Tears ran freely. Her shoulders bent forward, but she kept eating, spoon after spoon, like someone learning how to walk again. The compound did not clap. Nobody praised her. It was not that kind of moment. It was a quiet one, heavy, real. When the pot became half empty, Aunty Amaka covered it. She did not throw the rice away that evening. That night, I slept better. But I knew healing does not finish in one day. Some doors open slowly, even when you finally find the key.
After that Saturday, things did not suddenly become perfect. Healing does not work like light switch. Some days are bright, some days return you to darkness without warning. Aunty Amaka began to share the rice, but the pain did not leave her face. It only changed its position. The next Saturday, she cooked again. This time, 2 children came. She fed them, she watched them eat. She did not shout. She did not smile either. When the children left, she sat alone with the pot and stared inside it for a long time. She did not eat that day. People in the compound started talking again. Some said she had finally come back to her senses. Some said she was doing it to show off. Some said Mama Kemi had forced her hand. I heard the talk, but I kept quiet. I knew this journey was between her and her heart. One evening, I saw her standing by the gate, staring outside like someone waiting for a bus that might never come. I went to stand beside her. We did not speak at first. Silence can be kind when words are heavy. She told me she still heard Kunle's footsteps in her head. She said sometimes she woke up on Saturday morning with hope, then remembered the truth and felt foolish for hoping. She said sharing the food felt good, but it also felt like she was pushing her son further away. I told her that memory does not live because we share love. I told her that love grows when we allow it to move. That night, she told me something she had never told anyone. She said after Kunle died, she stopped visiting his school friends. She avoided places that reminded her of him. She stopped attending children's parties. She even stopped cooking some meals he loved. Jollof was the only thing she held on to because it was the strongest thread she had left. The following Saturday, something new happened. After feeding the children, she called out to the women in the compound. She asked if anyone wanted to eat. At first, nobody moved. Then one woman came, then another. Soon, small plates were passing around. Aunty Amaka did not sit. She stood and watched. Her eyes moved from face to face. People were chewing, laughing softly, thanking her. Her face looked confused, like someone seeing a dream while awake. Later, when the pot was almost empty, she finally sat down and ate 2 spoons. Just 2, but it was a start. That evening, she did not throw away any food. She washed the pot and kept it clean. At night, she came to my room and sat on my bed. She said the house felt lighter. She said the silence was not as loud as before. I listened. I nodded. I did not rush her. In my heart, I thanked God, not because the pain was gone, but because it was finally moving. Time passed, and Saturdays began to look different in our compound. The smell of jollof was still there, but it no longer carried only sadness. It carried voices, footsteps, small laughter. Life slowly sat beside the pot. Aunty Amaka changed in quiet ways. She still woke early on Saturdays, but she no longer rushed like someone afraid of missing a train. She hummed sometimes while cutting onions, not songs with words, just soft sounds, the kind that come when the heart is tired but trying. Children now knew her door,
not to beg, but to help. Some washed plates, some fetched water. Sadiq became the first to arrive every Saturday. He no longer looked like a shadow. His cheeks filled out little by little. Sometimes he would sit near the pot and talk about school. Aunty Amaka would listen. She would nod. She would not cry. One Saturday afternoon, when the compound was full of people eating, I saw Aunty Amaka step into her room and come out with a small framed picture. It was Kunle, smiling, young, alive in the way pictures make people stay alive. She placed the picture on a chair near the pot. My chest tightened, but I watched her closely. She did not collapse. She did not shake. She simply stood there and looked at the picture, then at the children eating, then back at the picture. That day, she ate a full plate. After everyone left, she sat beside me and told me she finally understood something. She said her love for her son did not die with him. It only had nowhere to go. She said feeling the children did not push Kunle away. It brought him closer. She said every smile she saw felt like a small message telling her she was still a mother. Weeks later, she did something I never expected. She went to Kunle's school. She met his old teacher. She listened to stories about him. She cried. She laughed. She came back tired but lighter. The last Saturday I want to talk about came during rainy season. Rain was falling gently. Aunty Amaka cooked inside her kitchen that day. When the food was ready, she shared it as usual. Then she called me. She told me thank you. Not for forcing her, not for pushing her, but for sitting with her in her pain when everyone else was tired of it. That evening, when the plates were washed and the compound was quiet, Aunty Amaka packed a small portion of rice and walked to the gate. She placed it there, not as waste, but as a farewell. She whispered a prayer and came back inside. From that day, Saturdays became days of sharing, not waiting. And every time I smell jollof on a Saturday morning, I remember that sometimes healing starts with one spoon, one child, and one woman brave enough to open her pot and her heart at the same time.